So much is at stake here in Arizona nationwide. This election presents a choice. Do we continue to elect the leaders who could care less about funding this university and this education system? Or do we elect a new class of leaders who value education and the benefits thereof? The choice is in our hands. Literally, all it takes is a pen and a ballot. Early voting has already begun. We have a voting location that opens up this Saturday at Palo Verde West. If you all have your ballots on, please vote. And by 2020, I hope you guys all join me as well voting. Literally, in the time it takes for Netflix to buffer, you can help change this state for the better. You can elect great legislators and executives. Think about the next time you're rewatching The Office. As a first-generation college student and as a Pell Grant recipient, I know why funding schools matter. The reason why I'm here today is a testament to public education. We're all from different backgrounds. But what public education shows us is our similarities. There is only one candidate for governor that understands this. David Garcia knows this just as a candidate. He knows the challenges of not growing up without a silver spoon in hand, and I'm excited to elect him as governor of this state. A vote for Garcia is a vote for our future. Senator Sanders, I want to welcome you to Arizona State University, and I'm genuinely sorry that you had to spend part of your day down in Tucson. Tempe's where it's at, and thank you guys all.
Please welcome 2014 Arizona Teacher of the Year, Beth Maloney.
Wow, hello ASU, good afternoon. What a crowd. I'm here to talk to you today about my personal experience with David. When I met David a number of years ago, we found that we share one very common trait. Not only are we both teachers, but we are both incredibly passionate about education in our state. Every time we talk, we are teeming with ideas to help the students and schools of Arizona. In fact, we get so excited and we talk so loud, people around us tell us to simmer down or we get funny looks because we're both really loud and we like to talk with our hands. So, knowing David's character and his ideals, it was no surprise to me that David stood with us when we walked in to schools with the Red for Ed movement, and he stood with us. And he stood with us every day at the Capitol when we marched out. After our current governor spent years starving Arizona's schools and students, the only way to get his attention was to walk out. It was our last resort. But that's one big difference between our current governor and our future governor. One is reactive and David is proactive. But David and I don't only share ridiculous amounts of enthusiasm for education in general, we both share a love of a particularly obscure niche of nerdiness. Education, finance, policy. Ooh. Yeah, where are the cheers for that? Thank you. I was the only teacher on Governor Ducey's Classroom's First Council. The council was given the easy task of revising, modernizing, and simplifying Arizona's current funding formula to provide equity for every student across the state. While the council consisted of people with wide and disparate range of views on public education, the one thing we consistently and passionately agreed on was that our state does not fund public education adequately. After years of examining our state revenue and current funding formula, our only consensus was that there simply isn't enough money in our budget to fulfill the promise in Arizona's Constitution to provide for the establishment and maintenance of a general and uniform public school system, and certainly not an equitable system. So after the Classroom's First Council gave our consensus and our recommendations, do you think Governor Ducey listened to his council? No. In fact, he disbanded us. But the really ridiculous thing, even after the Classroom's First Council consensus, even after we walked out of our classrooms, we didn't receive any of our 5 demands. We asked for reasonable items, including a broader definition of teacher, capping classroom sizes at 25, and limiting counselor ratios to 250 students. We got none of those. Now, if you've seen the education governor's campaign commercials, you'd be led to believe that we teachers received a 20% raise last year. That simply is not the truth. David's education plan includes the ability to achieve our 5 demands with a sustainable revenue source, adding more school counselors and lowering class sizes. Like me, David knows that public schools are the last safety net of our society. Fully funding and investing in our schools by raising revenue and growing our economy will benefit all of us. And it is the social responsibility that we owe to each other to have a healthy democracy and an informed citizenry. But just because David and I are teachers and education finance policy wonks, those aren't the only reasons I've been on Team Garcia since day one. Like David, I'm a parent who believes our children deserve so much more than last in the opportunities we give to them. I believe everyone deserves to go to college and that healthcare is a right, not a privilege. I know, like me, David has been sickened watching the battle against women's rights in this country. And I know he is the kind of man who stands with us, and not just with women, but with all human rights. Like David, I'm a human being who wants better water and energy policies for our beautiful desert. Arizona should be a leader in the fight against climate change, and David will make that happen. I don't have to tell you that the stakes in this election are so high for all of us. This is about the character of our leaders and the promise that we have not lost our moral clarity. This is about wanting a governor who reflects the values of our state. The basic tenets of our democracy are on the line. We deserve better. I read a powerful idea last week that led me to determine that each decision we make in life is an opportunity to analyze, criticize, and alter social and cultural structures that have features of oppression, domination, and injustice. And that is why you should join Team Garcia. This is your opportunity to be part of that change. If you're a student, a parent, a human being, if you care about the environment or equity or equality, if you care about the character of our leaders, if you're an advocate for a better future for Arizona, you should join us. David, I'm looking forward to lots more conversations with you when you are on the 9th floor. Thank you so much.
Please welcome to the stage Field Director for Garcia for Arizona, Karina Aribe.
Team Garcia! Let me hear it again. Team Garcia! I am so excited to be here with you all today. To be honest, I was going to recycle my speech from earlier, but I decided not to do that because I wanted it to be special because I am an ASU alumni. For those who know me, you know that ASU has played an integral part of my story. And my story begins very many years ago when I migrated to this country at a very young age with my mother. And right away, I saw that I was being treated different. But it wasn't by my peers or by my teachers or by my neighbors. This difference in treatment came from a place that at the age of 5, I didn't even understand, and that was the state capitol, the legislature. At the age of 7, I realized that those bilingual studies classes that I loved so much were gone, and I didn't understand why. And as I grew older, the attacks continued, and they came in different forms. It was always my dream to come to ASU, to be a Sun Devil. And in 2017, I finally was able to walk across that stage. But it took nearly 10 years to do so. And that was due to, again, somebody sitting at the state capitol on the 9th floor who decided to deny me the opportunity. And that is the difference between our current governor and the next governor of Arizona, David Garcia. Because just like ASU has played an integral part in my story, so has the word opportunity. But it has come in 2 forms throughout my life, young life, because I'm still young. It has come either in the form of denied opportunity or created opportunity. And our current governor has provided me with the first, which is denied opportunity. Denied opportunity to pursue my dreams and have access to an education. Denied opportunity to be able to see my family that still lives in my home country. And denied opportunity to at times even be able to share my story because I was afraid. But now I am with a team and with a candidate that I couldn't be more proud to represent. A team, yes. A team and a candidate who will do the second form of the word opportunity, and that is to create opportunity. Because we need the opportunity to thrive. We need the opportunity to be able to have and make decisions over our own bodies. We need to have yes! We need to have and create opportunity for all of our young people, the younger kids as well, to know that when we put them on a school bus each day, that they will be going to school with every opportunity presented to them, and that somebody on the 9th floor will be looking out for their best interests. Now, I've shared my story many times. Some of you have heard me share my story before, and it has always been in a different setting around people that were like me. And I felt so empowered to do it, but I must admit that it was a little frightening being on this campaign, to come out in front of a different audience and step out of my comfort zone and share my story. But let me tell you something, I am so glad that I did. I am so glad that I am able to be on a team with amazing folks who stand for creating opportunity, who stand for moving Arizona forward, and who do not stand for denying. Because as you saw, that is not what defines us as Arizonans. It's not about denying opportunity, but about creating it. Am I right? Now, these are all the reasons why I support David, and I've told you over and over. Now, I want to know, are you committed to electing David Garcia as the next governor of Arizona? All right. So in order to be able to fulfill that, in order to see David elected in the next 14 days, 14, yeah, you'll breathe that in, 14 days, we need to do two things. One is you all need to, correct, you get an A. And the second thing y'all need to do is, okay, not touching enough. You need to get out the vote. And that looks like a few different things, right? My favorite is knocking on doors. Yes. How many door knockers do we have here? Can we give them a round of applause? Yes. Y'all are my favorite people. We're best friends. You don't know that yet. All right, so what I need you to do, because you're committed to moving Arizona forward, and you're committed to David Garcia, and you're committed to change, I need you to pull out your cell phones. Oh, come on. Pull on. I can see you. I know y'all love to text. And I need you to text the word Garcia to the number 33250. It's on your rally signs. Garcia to 33250. And I need you to sign up for a shift. I need you to come out with us and join the thousands of volunteers. We have some over here. Yeah. Who walk with us every day, rain, no snow, because there's no snow here. But in Flagstaff there is, and I know we have some Flagstaff volunteers, 100-degree weather, all kinds of weather, and they get out every day and they step out of their comfort zones and they talk to voters, because we know that unlike Doug Ducey, we have something that he doesn't have, and that is people power. Are you ready to win this election? Are you ready? All right, I'm going to do my favorite chant, okay? When I say, who are we, you're going to say Team DG. Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay. Who are we? Team DG. 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 Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage Congressman Ruben Gallego.
Hola, hola, hola! Well, I know what I want to see in 2 weeks, us winning up and down the ticket. Who else is ready for that over here? Look, election day cannot come any sooner for Arizona and this country. We desperately, desperately need to win. And you all know why. You all feel why. The Republicans, led by Donald Trump and Doug Ducey, are committing the biggest generational theft in the history of this country. They are literally smashing and grabbing everything they can right now to basically rob you, your family, your kids of the future that you have worked so hard for. whether it's trying to take away our environment, our voting rights, your hard-earned wages, they and the 1% are taking everything they can as fast as freaking possible. Right now, y'all know it, right now people are just working. We're not working to buy a house anymore. We're not working to get that beautiful car, go on vacation. We're working just to stay alive. Nothing's changed. And nothing is going to change if you keep Doug Ducey in the governorship and Donald Trump in power being unchecked. I have friends, I have family. I see some of you out there that you're just going from job to job just to make sure you put food on the table, a roof over your family, and some gas in your car. That is not how Americans are supposed to live. Not at all. But what do we get from Donald Trump and Doug Ducey? Do you actually hear solutions? No. All you hear is excuses and scapegoats. They can't actually give us any reason why and how they're going to improve people's wages, so instead they want to make us afraid of brown people. That's all they got. They somehow claim that immigrants are driving down our wages. It isn't the immigrant that's crossing over the border. It's the Wall Street executive that's killing your wages. But they ain't doing nothing about that. It's not mainstream that's screwing your wage. It is Wall Street. And Wall Street has to change. You don't have to change. They blame brown people for being the drug dealers. Well, the biggest drug dealer is called pharma. And if pharma was a bunch of brown people, they would have arrested all the executives. But they're not. Instead, they just keep getting our people more and more hooked every day. And Doug Ducey gladly takes their money and then turns around and blames brown people for the addiction of this country. So if Doug Ducey wants to actually do something about opioids, then he should cut himself off his big addiction, which is pharma fucking money. Sorry. And the way you do that is by getting David Garcia elected. But let me tell you, the stakes are high. Donald Trump is just going to keep on attacking our people. Our people. Doesn't matter what color you are, they are our people. He wants to gut environmental regulations. He wants to make it so it's harder for our people to breathe, our people to drink clean water, our people just to live a normal, sane American life. And he doesn't care. He doesn't care who it affects as long as it doesn't affect his rich buddies. And more importantly, as long as it makes his rich buddies and his family a lot of money. And if you are expecting Doug Ducey, or you're expecting any Republicans to actually keep that crook in check, it ain't never gonna happen. We have just as many strong, powerful crooks here in the Republican Party as they exist in Donald Trump's cabinet. So the way to do this, the way to stop this, is to make sure there are people there that actually don't believe in stealing, right? Don't believe in taking your wages and giving it to the 1% that doesn't need it. But that does not happen with the current people you have in power right now, right? And we saw it. We saw what true resistance is. Now, us politicians, we want to believe that somehow we are going to be able to save the world. We are going to be able to change everything. At the end of the day, it's not us. It's you. The first people to fight and push back were the millions of women during the Million Women's March. Millions of marches happened across this country. It wasn't Congress. It was you that went to the airports to stop this stupid ban on our Muslim brothers and sisters. It wasn't Congress. It was the teachers that actually went and walked out and said that we are going to fight for our students and for a future. It wasn't the state legislature. So now we have less than 14 days. It's back on you. If you want to take this country back, if you actually want to protect this country from the crooks like Doug Ducey and Donald Trump, we need you to vote. We need your family to vote. We need your uncle to vote. We need your tío, tu tía, tu tío Chewy. You know who I'm talking about. We all got tío Chewy's out there, right? Get him out to vote, and get him to vote early. Thank you, and please vote for David Garcia.
Please welcome to the stage, President of our revolution, Senator Nina Turner.
Mic is not, okay. Phoenix. Phoenix, Arizona. Sir, oh, it's such a pleasure to be here with you this evening and to join you with Senator Sanders in support of Dr. Garcia. And I've been on this journey with the senator. We started off in Indiana, and here we are with you. I'm a little hoarse, but I'm going to do this thing, giving my voice for the people. But this really is about you. Yes, it is. I love you too, darling. This is indeed not just about Dr. Garcia, but really about you. And the fact that you are in this room this evening shows that you understand that we are in a moment of transcendence. And for us to be able to dream not only a bigger dream, but to execute that dream, to be willing to put something on the line for that dream, to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's what this moment is about. You know, the senator and I had a chance on our way here to walk the streets of Eloy and to see the needs of those people reminded me so much of communities in Cleveland or communities in Lubbock, Texas, communities all over this country where you have people who are part of the working poor doing everything that they can every single day to make a good life for themselves. But meanwhile, back at the ranch, the economic, political, and social systems in this country are rigged. And just as they are rigged, we're going to unrig this system on behalf of the people. So transcendence is upon us. And so it's not just enough for us, the choir, to get together. And we've cheered every single wonderful, positive thing that has been said about the kind of nation that we want to live in, one that really does live up to its creed of justice, equality, and freedom for all. But for that to happen, it is going to require some work on our part. So that means that all of you, all of us who are privileged to be in this room on this night, must commit ourselves to leaving this place and knock on one more door, send one more text message, make one more call. Because only all that we love is on the line. That's all. And if you understand that it is vitally important that this political system is changed, and it is not changed from the grass tops, it is changed because of the grassroots. Transcendence is upon us. And you must make sure that you get out there to vote, because 2018 is laying the foundation for 2019, which is laying the foundation for 2020 and 2021 and 2022 and 2024. And sometimes I'm asked, Sister Turner, when will this end? It will never end, because each generation is charged with advancing justice for the next and the next and the next and the next. You see, some folks have to surmount a smooth surface. They're born into this life with a smooth surface. Others have a bumpy surface. And then others have hills to surmount. And then there are those of us who are mountain jumpers. How many mountain jumpers do we have in the room? But no matter if you have a smooth surface or a rocky surface or a hill to surmount or a mountain to jump, understand this very clearly, that we are all in this together. We rise or fall together. So we must be committed to being comfortable with being uncomfortable, to shake things up. And we can be mad, we can be angry. I'm angry. I am a mad black woman. I'm taking applications, baby. All you can join the Angry Black Women's Club. to make change in this country. And voting rights are still being violated across this country, whether it's in Georgia, where they're stopping 53,000, didn't take the applications that impact 70% of African Americans, or whether we're talking about places in Kansas where our Hispanic sisters and brothers are impacted, or whether we're talking about places like North Dakota where our indigenous sisters and brothers are impacted. We're all in this together. You know, my grandmother used to say, lottie-dottie and everybody. We are all in this together. And we must never, ever, ever lose sight that freedom does not come freely. It comes with a price. It comes because everyday people are willing to put a little extra on their ordinary so that extraordinary things can happen. Transcendence is upon us. You know, President Nelson Mandela once said that it always seems impossible until it is done. For all of the people who do not believe that we can live in a nation where we have Medicare for all, they need to get out of the way of those of us who do believe. For people who do not believe that it is the right thing to invest our tax dollars in ensuring that there's college for all, trade schools for those who don't want to go to school, they need to get out of the way. And for those who begrudge the working poor and the middle class from having opportunities, but meanwhile, back at the ranch, they are open to giving corporate welfare to millionaires and billionaires. We're going to turn this thing around. Transcendence is upon us. Oh no, we are mad as hell, and we're not going to take it anymore. But we are, and we must take our energy, our collective energy, to turn this thing around. Dr. David Garcia, he needs your time, your talent, and your treasure. And whatever it is that you can put your hands to do, you must be willing to do. Being here at this rally is only the first part of our mission. We must go out into the highways and the byways and compel people to come. So I want to close with a quote from one of my favorite sheroes who I believe encapsulates this moment. She was a freedom fighter. She sacrificed her life time and time again to go and save somebody else. Her name is Harriet Tubman. And she said these words: if you hear the dogs barking, keep going. If you see the torches in the woods, keep going. If they're shouting after you, keep going. Don't ever stop. If you want a taste of freedom, keep going. My message tonight, that if we want transcendence, we must. If we believe that the people in this country deserve to have health care for all, we must. If we believe that we should make investments in college and higher education for all, we must. And if we believe that women deserve their whole damn dollar, we must. If we are willing to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, we must. If we are ready, willing, and able to challenge a system that is morally corrupt, we must. And if we believe in the words of our Native American sisters and brothers that we must be willing to see 7 generations beyond ourselves, we must. And if we are willing, in the words of a brother, to plant trees whose shade we may never enjoy, we must. We must. We must. We must. We must. God bless you.
Please welcome to the stage Dolores Horta.
Hello. Are we fired up? This is it. We're in the last legs. We have just a few more days, a couple more weeks before the election. And one of the things that we have to do out there is we just have to organize, organize, organize. We have a wonderful group here this evening, but you know what? We are not enough. Think about it. We are not enough. So one of the things that we have to do, each and every one of us, think of who can you recruit, okay? Let's double the size of this audience here. Let's triple the size of this audience here. So think about what friend, what relative, a neighbor, even somebody you hate, okay? Even somebody you hate. We're going to give them a lot of love. We're going to give them a lot of love, and we're going to tell them, come and help us on this mission of democracy, because this is what it is. And let's invite them to come with us as we go and knock on those doors. And when we are out there knocking on the doors, what we are doing, we are delivering people a gift. We are giving them a message, and our message is a gift. Because what we are doing, we are saying to them, you know what? You have power. And sometimes they don't know that. They're confused. They see all these television ads, they get really confused. And they think, well, I'm just not going to vote because, all of these people are bad, okay? That's what they think. So we have to go and we have to explain to them that they have the power and that they have to understand that the people that are elected, they are going to make decisions for us, for our lives, for our families, for our community. And they are going to decide what to do with our tax dollars that we pay. And what are they going to do with the tax dollars? Are they going to build more jails? Or are they going to build more schools? Are they going to bring us more health services? More affordable housing? More affordable health care? And we know that the candidates that we're endorsing here today are the people that will deliver that for us. But if we don't tell them and we don't explain to them, they may not believe it. But when you go door to door again, and they see your sincerity, and just the fact that you're willing to go talk to them one-on-one, that makes all the difference in the world. I started organizing when I was about 25 years old, the age of many of you in this room, and that is what changed my life. When I was going door to door, registering people to vote, and I came to a home of a farm worker, and they had a dirt floor, no linoleum, no carpet, just dirt. And their furniture were cardboard boxes and orange crates. And I knew how hard they worked. And you know what? That changed my life. That changed my life. I was there to give them a message, but they gave me a message. They gave me a message. And then I decided to quit being a school teacher and become an organizer, okay? So, as you are going out there visiting people in the next few days, and please, whatever you have in your life, there is nothing as important as this election. We have all been abused by the Republicans. Women have been abused, right? And they stand up for them. People of color have been abused. Disabled people have been abused. Latinos have been abused. Well, you know what? We're going to get back at them. And we have the most powerful weapon at all. We have the most powerful weapon of all. And in the name of Cesar Chavez, it's a non-violent weapon. And you know what that is? It's that ballot, right? It is that ballot. And so it's not only our ballot, but how many more ballots can we organize? So this is it. This is it. We're in for the home run now, and we're going to make it, and we're going to take it, and we're going to bring our country back because we are a democracy. But if people do not participate, then we know that we will have the F word, fascism. Okay, and we don't want that. So it's all up to us to go out there and work as hard as we possibly can, and I know that we're going to make it happen. And we're going to get, yes, we're going to have Governor Garcia. So, just one more thing. When you go to some of these households and people have their ballot, they have mailed it in, they haven't marked it, they haven't voted, and sometimes they're confused, okay? Because as I said before, they hear all these television ads and they feel intimidated. They don't want to do the wrong thing. No quieren quedar mal, you know? So they get that ballot, it's got all the names on it, and it's got all propositions on it, and they think they have to vote for everything. You know what? Tell them, no, you don't have to vote for everything. Just mark all the Democrats, all the Ds, okay? Just mark all the Ds, and you can leave the rest of it blank. So it's going to be a new day in Arizona, and you are going to deliver that new day. And you know, when they talk, especially all you young people out here, when they say that you are the future, I got news for you. You are the present, okay? You are the present. So I'm going to ask all of you a question, and I know that you know the answer, but I want you to shout it out really loud. Then we're going to do this twice, okay? And just wait for me, okay? And the question that I'm going to ask you, who's got the power? And I want you to say, we've got the power. And then I want to say, what kind of power? And I want you to say, people power, right? But I want you to shout it so loud so that the alt-right, the neo-Nazis, the homophobes, the misogynists, the racists, the bigots, so they can all hear us, okay? So here we go. Let's raise the roof. All right. Who's got the power? We got the power. What kind of power? People power. Okay, now we're going to do that again, but even louder. Because some people weren't quite sure, okay? So this time, when I say what kind of power, I want you to say voting power, all right? Voting power. So it's wonderful to protest, it's wonderful to march, but remember, at the end of the day, it's the people that get elected that make the decisions, right? And that is what counts. So voting counts. So when I say what kind of power, you're going to say voting power. But let's make that even louder. Okay, let's go again. Who's got the power? We got the power. What kind of power? Voting power. Okay, so are we going to go out there, recruit somebody to go with us? Okay, are we? Are we going to walk those doors? Are we going to man those phone banks? All right, okay. So I'm going to say, ¿se puede o no se puede? But those of you that are bilingually challenged, that means yes, we can. So let's do it one more time, but even louder. Sí se puede. Let's go. Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Muchas gracias. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Sí se puede. Yes, we can. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Here's what I say, folks. I say it's time. I say it's time that we stand up and we take our American values back. That's what I say. And they're the American values that I fought for, that I served in the military to defend. And let me tell you what they are. They are respect and dignity for all people first and foremost, regardless of who you are or where you come from. It is giving every every child the opportunity to reach their full potential and achieve the American dream through public education. And it is a government that is not bought and paid for by corporations, but is powered by the people, folks. Those are our values.
Arizona State University. Give a warm round of applause to the next governor of Arizona, Dr. David Garcia.
Amazing. Amazing. Sun Devils, how we doing out there? Yeah. Man, oh man, Bernie Sanders is going to be impressed with the crowd I brought out tonight, isn't he? Yeah, that's right. I know you know who Bernie Sanders is that right? Yeah. Well, I'm here to get you a little bit more familiar with me, folks. How's that? My name is David Garcia. I'm a working class kid from Mesa who is this close to being governor of his home state, folks. This close. My story is like so many of you out there. My dad got up every morning before the sun came up, combed his hair, and went to work. My mom got up, worked in an electronics factory, and I am a product of Arizona's public schools. Yeah. I don't know anybody from Mesa out there, but I'm a Mesa High jackrabbit. Got one out here? I know there's one everywhere. And so, I'm a professor here as well at ASU. Yeah. And a few months back, when our teachers were under attack, when our public schools were under attack, I got mad and I jumped in, folks. That's what I did. And I jumped in because I am standing in front of you today thanks to quality public education, kindergarten all the way up to our great universities. Yes. As you're knocking those doors, as you're out and about, let people know that when I win, we will never have a governor more committed to public education than me, folks, ever. But my path was not a direct one. I joined the Army when I was 17 years old. Yeah. My dad had to sign for me to join the military because I couldn't sign for myself. And that was the beginning of a lifetime of commitment to my community, to my state, to my neighborhood. And I did it for one really important reason. I needed to impress a girl. Truly. She was on the fast track, A student, smart, and I needed to keep up with her. And joining the military was the best decision I made because she is still with me today. If you just give her a round of applause. My wife, Lori, come on out and say hi really quick, Lori. Come on out and say hi. That's my wife, Lori, right there. But I'm an honest politician, so I got to be straight with you. She's a wildcat. I know. But I'm a Sun Devil. And in true Arizona tradition, we have two daughters, and guess what? One's a Sun Devil and one's a wildcat, folks. Yeah. But when I was in the military, I learned a lot, lessons that I'm going to take with me to the governor's office. I learned about accountability and discipline and service. And I know there's a lot of politicians out there that like to act tough. They like to act tough by picking on our teachers. They like to act tough by picking on people that do not look like them. But let me tell you, when I was in, I learned what it means to be tough, and it's pretty straightforward. You're tough when you can turn to your brothers and sisters and say, I have your back. That's when you're tough, folks. Yeah. And I served with proud soldiers from all over the country, different colors and races from every single corner, and we knew that protecting our country and defending our borders should never be a political issue. It should never be a political issue. We were all ready to lay down our lives. We were all ready to do everything we needed to do, not because we were part of a party, but because we were simply Americans. Young people trying to go out there and make a difference. That's right. And since that moment, I've been fighting for my home state ever since. I went to the Army on the GI Bill. Anybody out there on the GI Bill? Yes, thank you very much. It's made a huge difference in people's lives. See, the GI Bill, for those of you that don't know, that's when America puts a bet on you and says, you know what? You can make something of yourself. We're going to make sure you get an education. And I want to make sure that thanks to that, I'm going to bet on every single young person here in Arizona, because that bet pays off. Yeah. I applied to one college right here. I'm a Sun Devil. I graduated from ASU. And after I left here, I've been serving public education. I was down at the legislature for years. I've been serving public schools as the associate superintendent for the state of Arizona, and I proudly teach the next generation of leaders right here at Arizona State University. That's right. And through that journey, I became impressed with teachers. We got any teachers out there? Future teachers? Yes, retired teachers. Teachers, tell your friends that when I win, I'm going to treat you like a professional out there, folks. Yes, we're going to treat you like a professional. Because after 4 years under Doug Ducey, 75,000 teachers had to march to his front door for him to listen. And that's not going to happen when I am governor. Yeah. So I am in this to make sure that we invest in public education. But this is not how everybody sees it up there. Because I will tell you, down at the legislature, with few exceptions, there's a small group of people, special interest, a pay-to-play club that runs everything down there, folks. You need $1 million or so to sit at the table. You're not going to need $1 million to sit at my table. Not at all. Not at all. These are folks that instead of serving the people of Arizona, serve themselves. We have seen it all over our state. We have seen teachers have to take 2 or 3 jobs to stay in the classroom. And we're going to say no more. No more. Absolutely. We can do better than that. And when it comes to our universities, anybody know what it reads in our state constitution? Somebody does. Our universities should be as nearly free as possible. That is in our state constitution. Yeah. That is not some crazy progressive idea. If you stop and think about it, that is Bernie Sanders before Bernie was Bernie. Am I right? Am I right? And it's in there because our framers understood that higher education is the pathway. Higher education is the future. And when I am governor, I am going to fight for that constitutional requirement to make our universities as nearly free as possible. That is how I'm going to bet on you. So what goes on down there? Our leaders, are they using our public dollars to make tuition more affordable? No. Are they using our public dollars to pay our teachers as professionals? No. How about using our public dollars for affordable, accessible health care? No. What are they doing with it? They're playing golf. They're lining their pockets. That's what they're doing. They're watching charter school CEOs walk away with millions of dollars is what they're doing. Yeah, boom. Boom. And they are giving money to those at the top, not to you. Let me give you some perspective. In 2017, CEOs in Arizona got a 47% raise. 47%. I know. The rest of Arizona got a 4% raise. That's 10 times more than everyday Arizonans. It doesn't mean they're 10 times smarter. It doesn't mean they are 10 they're working 10 times harder. What it means is that this system is broken, and we have to go out there and fix it. That's what it means. And that is why I'm running for governor. To be honest with you, I never thought I'd hear myself say those words, because I'm not a politician. I'm an everyday guy looking to make a difference for his state. And yes. And when I was ready to jump in, I know how nasty it gets out there. And I know that you put yourself and your family in front. But folks, when I was in the military, we had a little saying. It was pretty easy. We turned to each other and they said, they can't eat you. No matter what happens, they can't eat you. So I stepped forward. I put myself in harm's way so that we can lead Arizona forward, folks. Yeah. So where are we going? We're going to a state where healthcare is a right and not a privilege, folks. We deserve better. And when I'm governor, I will look every single Arizona in the eye and tell them I am going to fight for affordable, accessible health care regardless of who you are or where you are in Arizona. We're going to have leadership that looks like Arizona from a racial perspective, gender identity perspective, from across Arizona. We're going to embrace new technologies out there and create an economy of the future. Yeah. Look, I know it's a little rainy today, but when I'm governor, we're going to double down on solar and make sure that we are a solar superpower in this state. Yes. Yes. And what people are looking for right now more than anything is just a little bit of integrity in their leadership. Because, boy, are we missing that right now, aren't we? Somebody you can trust. Somebody who is going to come back, look you in the eye, and say, let's get out there and let's get to work together. And the biggest issue out there that is dividing us is immigration. Yeah. When I win, we will no longer use immigration as a political issue, folks. No more in this state. No more. Look, I know the value of security. I've served our country. Doug Ducey has served ice cream, folks. Yeah. But I know that serving your country doesn't mean that we have to rip babies away from the mothers at the border. We are better than that. We are better than that. And I have seen the attack ads out on me, and I want to just be absolutely clear where I stand. I stand with our dreamers, folks. I do. I do. I do. And when we give these talented young people the opportunity to work, study, and contribute in the only state and country that they know, we will be on the right side of history. We will. So we got a CEO governor right now. We need a working class governor. That's what we need. That's what we need. We don't need somebody who acts like he's still a part of a board of directors, looking out for wealthy investors. We need somebody who's going to look out for you, each and every single one of you. Yeah. So know this, I'm not in this to protect some billionaires. I'm not in this to be part of the pay-for-play club. I am in this not to be your boss. I'm in this to work with you. And folks, we got a chance to get this thing done right now. Yeah, yeah. See, because all that wealthy pay-for-play folks, they are hoping you're going to get tired, exhausted. They're hoping you're going to give up. You're going to get discouraged. Or more particularly, you're going to walk away and think that your vote doesn't matter. Never. Because I think they're wrong. Because I know they are wrong. Because in every corner of this state, everywhere I go, we're seeing record numbers, new energy, new people, new enthusiasm. Everywhere we go. And every time you see new, remember this, new people, new energy, new enthusiasm, doesn't vote for the same old politics, folks, do they? This moment is different. And because this moment is different, we have a chance to do something different. We can make Arizona a better place. Together we can make in Arizona a place that has the best public schools all the way up to our universities in the country. That's what we can do. We can have a state where everybody is respected and valued, and we can have a state where anybody who is talented and ready to contribute is going to have that chance, folks. Yes. Look, it's amazing to be back here again. I walked on this campus as a student a long time ago, and 30 years ago, I joined the Army to impress that girl that you saw up here just a minute ago. And now, there's a couple other reasons why I'm running, and that's our two daughters, Lola and Olivia. Guys, come on up here for a second. Come on up here. I am running for them, folks. I am running so that in 10 years from now, they know that their papa did everything he could to fight for his home state. That he stood up against the pay-to-play club, that he made our state safer, that he was on the right side of history, and that together we built a much better, stronger, more inspirational Arizona. Thank you. Raise your hand, guys. Raise your hand. We've got 2 weeks left. Let's go out there and win this. Let's go win this. Yeah. You guys ready? Yes. Stay out here. Stay out here. Yes. Yes. All right, everybody. Now are you ready? Because I have the distinct privilege of introducing a man who has been and is the conscience of our country right now, the voice of working families, the voice of our youth across this country. I am honored and privileged to present to you Senator Bernie Sanders. Thank you.
And let me begin by thanking all of you for being here this evening. This is a beautiful crowd, and from up here, let me tell you, you're looking very beautiful to me. We have the most important midterm election in the modern history of this country coming in 2 weeks. And we need, from coast to coast, to elect strong, progressive governors. And I know that in the next 2 weeks, each of you is going to do everything you can to make sure that David Garcia is the next governor of Arizona. Let me be very straightforward with you. Let me just tell you that you live in a nation today which sadly has a corrupt political system. It is a nation which has more income and wealth inequality than almost any other major country on earth. And the only antidote to taking on billionaires who buy elections, because as we speak right now, You got a handful of billionaires, people like the Koch brothers and others. They are spending hundreds of millions of dollars trying to get candidates elected who will represent their interests, the interests of the wealthy and the powerful. So when you turn on a TV tonight, you see some ugly 30-second ad, try to figure out who is paying for that ad and why. And the people who are paying for that ad could care less about the environment, could care less about human rights. They want tax breaks for billionaires, and that is why they pay for those ads. And the only antidote I know is to how you take on wealthy and powerful and greedy people who care only about their own interest. The only way I know is when people organize at the grassroots level and stand up and fight back. And in many ways, Arizona has begun that process. When I was back here in 2016, you had a Maricopa County sheriff who was a racist. That's right. He was a racist of the worst kind. But you know what you did? You stood up, you fought back, and you defeated him. In 2016, and I remember this very well, and I'll tell you a story. I was here a couple of months ago in Phoenix, and I saw a woman. I stayed at a hotel, and a woman came up to me, and she said, "Senator, when you were on the ballot here in Arizona in 2016, I waited online 8 hours in order to vote for you." People had to wait 8 hours, give up a day's pay, not have time to spend with their kids, and God knows how many thousands of people simply did not vote. But you stood up and you said that you will not allow people to suppress democracy, and you got rid of that county recorder. And that's what standing up and fighting back is about. Somebody wants to suppress democracy, prevent people from voting, you said you're out the door. And you did something else recently, and I applaud you for this. You stood up and said that if somebody in Arizona works 40 hours a week, that person should not be forced to live in abysmal poverty. And with groups like Lucha leading the way, you raise the minimum wage. And that's what happens when people stand together and fight back. Now here we are, 2 weeks before an election. Let me give you a brief analysis of American politics today. 4 years ago, in the last midterm elections, the United States had the lowest voter turnout of any midterm elections since World War II. 2 out of 3 Americans did not go to the polls. And here in Arizona, that was exactly what happened. 2 out of 3 people did not vote. Working people did not vote, low-income people did not vote, and young people did not vote in large numbers. And the result of that all across this country is when billionaires spend hundreds of millions of dollars and ordinary people don't vote, Republicans win and win big, and that is what happened in 2014. And you saw the results of that here in Arizona and all across this country. In 2014, we had the lowest voter turnout in modern history. In 2018, we have got to have the highest voter turnout Now, I'm delighted that all of you are here, and I know that you're going to vote or have already voted for David. But in these dangerous and unprecedented times, you got to do more than just cast your ballot. You know what you got to do? You got to go and get your friends and your family and your co-workers and get them to vote as well. We've got about 1,000 people here tonight. That's a great turnout. If each of you can bring out 3 additional people, that 1,000 votes for David suddenly becomes 4,000 votes. Let's do that. And I say that because I want all of you to think, and I don't mean to be ultra patriotic right now, but we live at a moment, not only here in Arizona, but all across this country, where right-wing, cowardly Republicans are trying to suppress the vote. You see, these people don't have the guts to defend their ideas. They don't have the guts to go before their constituents and say, these are my ideas, vote for me. They know that because they represent the wealthy and the powerful, if there was an open election and everybody was able to vote, they would lose. So what they do, whether it is Georgia, whether it is North Dakota, wherever it is, they're trying to suppress the vote. And I want all of you to remember, the men and women throughout the history of the United States who have put their lives on the line to defend democracy. So when you talk to a friend and that friend says, well, I'm kind of busy, I got other things to do, it doesn't matter. You remind them of those people who died for America's way of life. And the essence of America's way of life is that ordinary people, not kings, not billionaires, not czars, you, ordinary Americans, control the future of our country. And that means we have got to get out and vote. And I would just remind you this. In this country today, younger people vote historically in substantially lower numbers than does the general population. If we accomplish nothing more in this campaign than that people under 30 voted at the same percentage as people over 30, we would transform Arizona and transform America. Let's do it. Now, I recognize that in 2016, Trump won the state of Arizona. But I think that many people in Arizona who voted for Trump did not know then what they know now, and that is that Trump is a pathological liar, and that you can never believe anything that he says. All of you will remember that when Trump came to Arizona or Vermont or wherever he went, he said, I am going to provide health care for everybody. That is what he said, but he lied. Because as president, what he did is help lead the effort to repeal the Affordable Care Act, which would have thrown 32 million Americans off of the health care that they have. And if it wasn't for the vote of your late Senator John McCain, that is what would have happened. Trump said that when he ran for office, that if he was elected, he was going to take on the pharmaceutical industry, which charges us by far the highest prices in the world for the medicine that we need. He lied again. In the last 2 years, the cost of prescription drugs has soared. Trump told the people of Arizona that if he was elected, he would not cut Medicare, Medicaid, or Social Security. He lied again. His last budget called for $1 trillion cut in Medicaid, $500 billion in Medicare, and $72 billion in the Social Security Trust Fund. Trump said that he was going to take on the establishment. Well, he appointed more billionaires to his administration than any president in the history of this country. Trump said he was going to take on Wall Street, but he deregulated many Wall Street banks. In other words, Trump told the people of Arizona one thing, and he ended up doing something very, very different. But it's not just his economic policies that bother me. Trump pretends to be a really tough guy. He is so tough that he is prepared to see agents rip little babies out of the arms of their mothers. That's how tough he is. But when standing up to Vladimir Putin, suddenly Mr. Trump is not so tough. Trump is very tough when it comes to mocking and insulting women, including women who have been victims of sexual assault. But somehow he is not so tough in standing up to the dictatorship in Saudi Arabia that kills a dissident journalist. And frankly, I am a little bit tired, and I think you are as well, of having a president of the United States making insults against our democratic allies all over the world, but then coddling and befriending dictators from one end of this world to the other. And in 2018, the American people are going to remind Mr. Trump that our job as Americans is to spread democracy and human rights all over this world and not coddle dictators and tyrants and murderers. Our struggle in this election is not just about Trump. It's not just about taking on the most dangerous and dishonest president in American history. Our job is to bring forth a vision for the future of Arizona and the future of America, a vision that works for all of us, not just the few. Instead of living in a nation in which the three wealthiest people today own more wealth than the bottom half of the American people. Living in a nation in where the top 1/10 of 1% owns more wealth than the bottom 90%. A nation in which the top 1% are earning more than 40% of all new income being created. Our job together is to create an economy and a government that work for all of us, not just the people on top. And I want to take this opportunity to thank all of the people in Arizona who supported my 2016 candidacy. Thank you. Out of that campaign, in that campaign, we won 22 states. We won over 13 million votes. And we won more votes from young people than Clinton and Trump combined. And because of that support here in Arizona and around the country, ideas that we campaigned on that just 3 years ago seemed to be radical and extreme are now part of mainstream conversation and in fact are being supported by candidates all across America. Today, whether you are a conservative or a progressive, you know that we have a corrupt campaign finance system and that we have got to overturn this disastrous Citizens United Supreme Court decision. You know that we have got to raise the minimum wage to at least $15 an hour, and that we need pay equity for women. It is not acceptable that women today earn 80 cents on the dollar compared to men. And while we're talking about women's issues, let us make it clear that it is a woman and not the government who has the right to control her own body. Now, 3 years ago, I made a statement that at that point seemed radical, ain't radical today. And that statement is that health care is a right, not a privilege. Now, today in America, we have 30 million people who have no health insurance. We have even more people who are underinsured. We pay the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs, such that 1 out of 5 Americans can't even afford the medicine their doctors prescribe. And at the end of all of that, and you got to know this, we end up spending almost twice as much per person on health care as do the people of any other nation. We are wasting hundreds of billions of dollars a year on bureaucracy and on billing. And that is why, just today, another poll came out showing that 70% of the American people now support a Medicare for all single-payer program. We will not continue to be the only major country not to guarantee health care to all. And I want all of you to know that when you get sick, you go to the doctor when you need to go. When you go to the hospital, you don't have to worry about financial ruin. That when a doctor prescribes a drug, you can afford to fill that prescription. This is not a radical idea. It is an idea now supported by 70% of the American people. And together we are going to take on the drug companies and the insurance companies and remind them that the function of health care is to provide quality care to all, not to make billions in profits for insurance companies and drug companies. Now, Trump lies about a lot of things, and just last week or 2 weeks ago, he made another major lie, and he said, you know, in terms of climate change, we're just not sure. There are differences of opinion about climate change out there. That's a lie. The truth is that 99% of the scientists who study climate have concluded that climate change is real, climate change is caused by human activity, and climate change is already causing devastating problems in the United States and around the world. And I don't know if some of you happen to have read about a report that recently came out from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Anybody see that? This is what it said, and this should get you really, really nervous. It said that we have 12 years, not a long period of time, to substantially cut the amount of carbon in our atmosphere, or else this planet will suffer irreparable harm. Our job right now, for your sake, for the sake of your kids and your grandchildren, is to tell Trump and the fossil fuel industry that their short-term profits are not more important than the future of our planet. And we're making some progress, not enough, some progress on the issue of criminal justice. Because we have today a criminal justice system that is not only broken, it is a racist system. And more Americans understand, among other things, that the so-called war on drugs has been an abysmal failure. Too many people have seen their lives negatively impacted by arrest records for possession of marijuana. We have an absurd situation in Washington where, if you can believe it, under the Federal Controlled Substance Act, marijuana is at the same level as is heroin. And all over this country, and I guess you came pretty close recently, but all over this country, states are going forward either decriminalizing the possession of marijuana or making it legal. Let's do that. I do not want to see lives destroyed where people get police records for the possession of marijuana. They can't get a job, can't get an apartment. That's wrong. We have got to deal also with an issue that I know is very important to this state, and that is we have got to stand up to Trump's attacks against the immigrant community. And for me, this is a little bit personal because my dad came to this country at the age of 17 without a nickel in his pocket and with very little education. Our job is not to demonize immigrants. Our job is not to threaten people in the DACA program. Our job together is to pass comprehensive immigration reform and a path towards citizenship. Now, I strongly disagree with Trump on his economic policies, on his disrespect for science, on his views on immigration. But I'll tell you what gets to me even deeper, and that is the following. Throughout the modern history of this country, we have had presidents, whether they were conservative or whether they were liberal, who understood that the function of a president is to bring people together, not divide them up. Now, everybody in this room knows the history of the United States and the wonderful and great things that we have done, but the not so great things that have happened in our country. You are all aware of the abominations committed against the Native American people by the settlers. You all know that. You know the horrors of slavery and racism and segregation. You know that 100 years ago today, women did not have the right to vote. They were second-class citizens. You know that our gay brothers and sisters had to hide their sexuality. You know that throughout America, there were all kinds of discriminatory actions against Asians, against Italians, Catholics, Irish, Jews, you name it. That's the bad news. But the good news that we should be very proud of is that during all of that time, with all of that racism and sexism and homophobia, during all of that time, there were good people who stood up, often at great personal sacrifice, who said that we will not tolerate racism in America, that we will not tolerate sexism in America, that we will not tolerate religious bigotry, that we will not tolerate homophobia. And many of these people stood up. Some of them went to jail, some of them were killed. But they stood up for what America is supposed to be about. And that is a nation that treats all people with respect. And now for the first time, we have a president who is trying to divide us up, trying to say that we should worry about somebody because the color of their skin may be dark, or maybe they came from another country, or maybe they are Muslim, or maybe they're some other religion. We're supposed to hate them. And what we say to Trump is that this country has struggled for too many years with discrimination. We are not going backwards, we are going forwards. We're going to bring our people together. So this election in 2 weeks is enormously important for so many reasons. It's important that we will tell the world that we do not accept Trump's demagoguery and his prejudices and his economic policies. It is important that we tell the world and our own people that we want a government that works for all of us and not just the few. In 2 weeks, you in Arizona can help make American history. Give us a strong, progressive governor here. Please elect David Garcia as your next governor. Thank you all very much.